Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a bacon wrapped meatloaf along with a couple different sides. I'm going to be doing some roasted asparagus, and I'm also going to be doing some garlic Parmesan mashed red potatoes with sour cream. So if you guys will, definitely stay tuned to see how these things are going to be made. I have some of my ingredients laid out here like I do with every video, just to kind of show you guys what I start off with. I have my thick cut bacon, I have my asparagus, my ground beef that I'm going to be using. You can also see that I have my rolls in the back as well. Those are not made by scratch, but they go very well with the meal. So here we are. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and start chopping some of my ingredients. Here I have my green pepper that we're going to be chopping. You want to make sure you get those in fine little pieces. Here we have our onion. We're going to go ahead and chop that as well. After chopping those, I'm just going to go ahead and add both of those to a plate to put into our meatloaf. The next thing I do is I add my ground beef into my bowl, getting ready to start adding ingredients. I do go ahead and kind of mix the ground beef together. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get my eggs out. I use 2 eggs for this part. I do have a 2.5 pound meatloaf that I'm going to be making. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get our pepper and our onions put into the bowl as well. So go ahead and get that mixed in. I have a cup of Parmesan that we're putting in. And then I'm also putting in a cup of ketchup just to kind of give it a little bit of moistness. I'm going to go ahead and add in my seasoning salt, my garlic powder, and then I'm also going to add in some ground pepper. With the seasonings, you don't actually have to measure those, just add as much as you want. Now I'm going to go ahead and crush my sleeve of crackers. The lighting is better in the middle. Go to the camera, yes. Alright. Now that we have those crushed, we're going to go ahead and add in the whole sleeve. And then I'm going to go ahead and start mixing my meatloaf. We are going to go ahead and add in another ingredient once I get this mixed up. And that is going to be real bacon pieces. I had some left over in a bag from where we eat salads. So I went ahead and got those pieces put in. It was about half a package that I had left. Now I'm going to go ahead and mix that up. And then we're going to be ready to go ahead and get that put into our dish. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this put into a loaf. I am mashing it down and then mashing the sides to kind of get it even on each side. You don't want it puffed up in one place and not the other. And this is how your loaf should look once you get that patted out. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding my thick cut bacon. I use thick cut bacon because I don't want to use thin cut, only because it can burn. The thick cut takes a little bit longer to actually get done, which gives your meatloaf enough time to get done as well. After we get it wrapped in bacon, we're going to go ahead and grab a piece of tin foil and get that put over the top just to keep some of that moistness in while it cooks. I'm going to pop that into a 350-degree oven. It's going to take around an hour and a half to cook. I do take the tin foil off during the middle of the cooking process just to go ahead and let the bacon get a nice crisp on it. While that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and get started on our asparagus. First thing you want to do is go ahead and cut those ends off right around where you see the rubber band part. You don't want those stalks on the end. I am going to go ahead and get that washed in some salt water and then rinse to make sure nothing is on it. And then we're going to go ahead and put it on a bread pan. I do like to put tinfoil on the bread pan as well so it does not stick to the pan. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and start with the seasonings. It's very simple. The first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and drizzle that with olive oil. And then we're going to go ahead and take our salt and go ahead and get that put on as well. You want to make sure to get quite a bit of salt just to give it some flavor. Asparagus can be a little bit bitter. I also go ahead and add some pepper, and then I add in my garlic seasoning as well. You can add any type of seasoning that you want. Make sure you give that a good toss just so you can make sure that everything is evenly distributed onto the asparagus. And then we're going to wait for a few minutes, and then we're going to pop that in with our meatloaf. The asparagus is only going to take about 15 minutes in the oven, so you can actually put that in right around the last 15 minutes that your meatloaf is going to be making. That's still going to give it a little bit of a crisp, but you're also going to have the nice roast on it as well. And here we are with the finished product. This is how your asparagus should look. Next thing we're going to do is get started on our mashed potatoes. So for my mashed potatoes, I'm going to be using red potatoes. I'm not taking the skin off. I like to leave the skin on those just to give it a little more texture. I am using a 3-pound bag, which is a pretty good portion for a family of 4 to 6. You will probably have leftovers. Next thing we're going to do is, after we wash the potatoes thoroughly, we're going to get those started with a little bit of olive oil and some salt. We're going to go ahead and let those boil. Once those are boiled, we're going to go ahead and drain those. We're going to add in half a stick of butter, which is 1/4 of a cup. Here I'm adding my sour cream. I did go ahead and actually add in the whole 8 ounces of sour cream just because I did have a 3-pound bag of potatoes. I'm doing my pepper and my salt. And then after that, I'm going to start mashing those. I do not actually do that with a hand mixer just because I do like a little bit of texture in my potatoes. So all I'm going to do is mash those with a fork. Here I'm adding in some whole milk. The whole milk you can kind of distribute as you want it, depending on how milky you want your potatoes. If you're wanting a good amount of texture in there, I wouldn't add a lot. So that's something that you can use at your discretion, just on however you want the potato to be. After I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and add in a cup of Parmesan cheese. And then I'm going to add in garlic powder, not garlic salt, just because you do not want your potatoes overly salted, because your cheese is also going to have a salty taste to it as well. I'm going to go ahead and get those mixed up, and I'll be back with the finished meatloaf. Alright guys, and here is our finished meatloaf. As you can see, the bacon is nice and crispy on top, but not overly done. With your meatloaf, if it's not done in 1.5 hours, you can go ahead and keep it in a little longer. Mine actually took a little longer this time. It was about 2 hours. So one way you can check that is, if you're not sure if it's done, just pull it out of the oven, make a little cut into it, and see if your meat is still pink. If it is, just pop it back into the oven. And here we are. We have our meal plated and ready to eat. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you guys have any questions on how to make any of this, please leave a comment. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Like I said, if you have any questions, please leave a comment for me. Hope you guys have a good evening.